And today we're going to cover over every new deck you're going to be able to play in this upcoming format. I might be missing a few, sorry, but there's a lot to cover. I think I reached 23 to 24 decks in this one video, so let's, without further ado, not waste any more time, shall we? So first off, we're going to talk about Phoenixmon. Phoenixmon with Akihiko, Chrissy, and Sora are all great combinations. Adding in the fact that we have access to Saberdramon that combos in really nicely with Akihiko's ability to make any avian, bird, beast, animal, sovereign, or other sea animals in its traits by an effect by suspending this tamer that gains rush if you played it. So definitely helps out in the long game. You might be wondering why I'm playing Ukamon in the list. I figured it would be a spicy little 2-of, just to fill in slot gaps. You don't have to play it. You can play any of the other Birdramons. It does not matter. It's just a fun little niche tech that you can play with your Yokomons or anything like that. You know, just perfectly fine because it's just going to speed up your tempo and continue your plays. We get to play offensive trading. Twin Wings of Love is really nasty because you may play one red tamer card with a play cost 4 or less from your hand without paying cost. Then if you have a tamer with Sora in its name, return one red Digimon card from your trash, which combos with Sora's ability to be all turns when a card is returned from your trash by hand. By returning this tamer, you may play one red Digimon card with Avian, Bird, you know, everything like that, in one of its traits with 13,000 DP or less from your hand without paying cost. For each of your opponent's security, subtract 2,000 DP. The lucky numbers you want to be playing on your opponent is having 3 or less. The goal is to get to 3 security, then you're really playing optimally. The fact that you can't play optimally until you get to that threshold of hitting 2 of your opponent's security sometimes slows this deck down just a little bit. What's really nasty is the Chrissy combo that basically says one of your on deletion play a Biomon combo, which is what you kind of do this. With this Biomon, if you played it by an effect by returning one of your Chrissies to hand, this Digimon may Digivolve into a Ryudamon from your hand, ignoring Digi-Evolution requirements without paying its cost. So it kind of warps, and then you have 2 really solid Ryudamon targets. So the deck has a lot of potential, and I like to see stuff like this. So definitely taking that into account, like even Biomon just being a starter main phase, you by trashing one card with, you know, the trait and it's needed, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 red card among them to place the rest of the bottom deck in the any order. So just really solid all in all. The deck has potential, and I would love to see someone actually fine-tuning this and making it better. You could play War Greymon from BT-14 in the list. That's up to you. I took it out and I put in Ukamons. Now, let's talk of a non-restricted version of the Garurumon deck. So this one was one I tested a little bit out on. If I remember correctly, yeah. We have Bukamon. For the next 3 weeks, you have full access to Bukamon. This card is just going to give you jamming. You don't worry. You just swing him for days and just go off from there. You play 4 mats because your Gabumon's going to hopefully search for it. And this combos really nicely with this Garurumon being able to play the 3-cost map for a reduced cost. It depends on your play style and what you think you're going to be doing with it. There are a lot of options here. The fact that the Gabumons kind of just cycle back pieces back into the deck really does help out. And, you know, you're going to OTK how you want to go about it. To be honest with you, this is a pretty solid list. You know, taking into the Garurumon, comboing with Matt. This is for players that really like to just have an inheritable do something across the board. So since 2 of these have really decent inheritables, and you won't have a vanilla for that long, it's not terrible. You can do what you want, to be honest with you. You could go more Garurumon draws if you think searching and playing a mat is not the biggest draw point. You know, all in all, we do have a lot of potential. Let's take a look at what a restricted version would be. So I figured put in Sunomon from BT-15. When your Digimon effect adds a card to your hand, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. We're going to go with, you can go with 3 and 1 if you want to, if Bukamon is really that important. But you can definitely go 5 eggs just for consistency wise. We are going the similar route to how the Garurumon deck kind of changed up. Well, Greymon deck kind of changed up once it got restricted. We are playing 3 draw Garurumon, 1 Garurumon X antibody of the new, and then, you know, 3 of BT9s. So that kind of just combos there. And then we do the same thing with the Gabumon as well. And to be honest with you, there's no real difference here. We're just playing a little bit slightly uniquely. We are playing 2 Garurumon that are going to play the mat for us. We are playing 4 of the Gabumon that'll search the mat. So just so you have that consistency of getting there. You don't have to play this. You could play the Gabumon that's going to be hard drop, search top 3, grab a Garurumon or an Omni. Really does help, and an Omni just helps out in tempo. It's up to you how you want to play the deck. This is basically your changeable slots here are these 2 right at the moment. You can take them out, play them how you want. I think X Antibody Protoform is really solid. You could play the regular X Antibody as well. There's nothing wrong with your choices here. There's no bad picks. What you can take out here is the Weregarurumon X Antibody and just go straight into this Weregarurumon as a full playset as well. There's no wrong answers how you want to build this deck. The deck's going to do what it wants to do, and it's going to try to OTK your opponent in the face. Next, we do have Jellymon. Jellymon has a couple possibilities here. Let me just talk about it right now. We do play very similarly to a Source Strip deck. So basically, you have Amphimon on play. When Digiball, you may trash up to 4 blue cards in your hand. For each card trashed by this effect, trash any number of cards from under your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, then return one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamer with no cards under it to its owner's hand. Then when attacking by returning 3 cards in Jellymon and its text from your trash at the bottom of your deck, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So the deck does hurt because it doesn't have Bukamon. What you're going to do is once the restriction comes in, you just bring Bukamon down and play for Wanya. To be honest with you, the fact that Bukamon is gone from this deck really hurts the deck because it doesn't have any way of climbing in power. So basically, when restriction hits, normally we would do the RB1. I think this is pretty solid to gain the draw, and then when this Tamer becomes unsuspended, gain a memory. But we're going to have to probably give priority to promo Koshiro to give the jamming that this deck actually needs. So this is what's going to happen is this Koshiro comes out. Right now, you could play it with 4 Buku, 1 Wanya, and go 2 of this Koshiro from RB1 so that you gain the draw and gain the memory when it comes unsuspended. And then you just swap over to this Koshiro, the promo, for the jamming once Boko gets hit. So the deck just does what it wants to do. It kind of just trashes a lot of its hand value of Jellymons. You're just tossing away all your Jellymons to be recycled back into the deck for later use, which really does help out. And you do a lot of source stripping just to eliminate a lot of your opponent's craziness. But you play 2 Omnimon also Merciful mode just because purple is a thing. But you take those out and put in Blitzami if you want to, or anything that you find valued. But all in all, the deck has a lot of potential, and hopefully it can do something in the meta. Then we have a Fishy Fish. This is basically Ben's list from Digimon Tri-Cup. So if you want to check out that video, it is in Season 2. Definitely worth a watch. But taking in the new Rush Seadramon for its ability to be played, and then you just be able to swing. And then you do have jamming. Then you have Seadramon that's going to be promo that helps the deck out that you need 3 of, and it's overly priced. But outside of that, we're playing the Mega Seadramons and stuff like that. I guess Dramon is basically here to play one of your purple level 3s or Seadramons in their names for free. Metal Seadramon plus Plesio X Antibodies, really solid. Return one of your opponent's Digimon with as many or fewer Digievolution cards as this Digimon to your hand, to their hand. Then one of your opponent's Digimon with same or fewer Digievolutions as this Digimon attacks. If this Digimon has Plesiomon or X Antibody, gain 2 memory. So it's just a threat on board. So it's not terrible across anything here. So Davis is at 2 just because Mem Setter. Memory boost, mental training. You definitely need to be able to search your pieces. Zudamon Ace to strip things away. Weregarurumon Ace just to stun your opponent's shenanigans. It's all good stuff. I think it has a lot of potential. Fishy Fish deck can do some crazy shenanigans. Now we have Yellow Vaccine. This is more traditional. Traditional Yellow Vaccine. This is just basically if you were taking what you had from BT-14 and just went you know what? I just want to tech in BT-15 stuff. You take in the Angelwomon. That basically is by trashing the top or bottom of your security stack, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6,000 DP until the end of the turn, and then all turns when a card is removed from your security stack, you have 3 or fewer security recovery 1. So, not a bad thing with Angelwolmon. You know, Phoenixmon to help slow things down by stopping when attacking and when digivolving effects. Seraphe to be your Punisher, you're just going to push with Seraphe. You know, Megadramon just being able to trash the top or bottom of your security stack. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 9,000 DP until the end of the turn, and when a card is removed from your security stack, if you have 3 or less security, if you place 1 card from your hand at the top or bottom of the security stack, you're going to take advantage of the Gado's ability, because when a card is removed from your security stack, gain a memory. It has barrier, all the good stuff here. You know, use Cutemon to can't reduce Digivolution costs to shut down trainings, and then use Pillamon, can't play Digimon by effects. So, just to slow down any purple shenanigans as well. Emissary of Hope, Revelation of Light, you know, physical trainings, TKs, and Karis. All the good stuff, and I'm going to say, you know what? We got some good ways of applying pressure. You know, Kairumon is basically giving jamming if you take something out of your security, which is very likely in this deck. Now, we do have one more suited for Kentoris. As we talked about Gado, we're playing the Magnas and the Angelwolmon Aces, but, you know, because we're focusing on, like, effects like Barrier, that's going to be able to keep our stuff alive by trashing the top card of our security, which triggers everything else in this deck, because if you can get Odin's Breath at the top because of by trashing this card, activate its main, one of your opponent's Digimon get its minus 3,000 DP until the end of turn. Then if there are 6 or fewer total cards in both security, all your opponent's Digimon gets the security attack -1 until the end of turn. So, not bad trade-off there. You know, even Revelation of Light basically activates the security effect. All your opponent's Digimon and all your opponent's security Digimon get minus 5,000 DP until the end of your turn. So being able to trash that can really add in some much needed pain train. You know, Dick Samson here, Richard, is going to be able to help you warp your, you know, Kodemon right into Kentoris to be able to combo off. You know, being able to multi-attack unsuspended one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 7,000 DP. You know, this all adds up eventually and applies a lot of decent pressure going forwards. And I'm excited to see what you guys can brew in. Because, you know, like, even having the Kairumon plus Bulkmon combo is really nasty to some decks, because that jamming for 2 early on is just really scary. You know, now let's get into the Insect Boys. So, if you guys are looking to be able to play, you know, Hercules Kabuterimon, this seems to be the more dedicated list that I saw that has some decent potential. You know, having the ability of Izzy being able to, when an opponent's attacks by suspending the same or switch to attack target of one of your suspended Digimon with Insectoids, just giving a redirect is really solid, especially since your guys can gain some decent DP. You know, see Tentomon starter main phase gets plus 3,000 DP until the end of opponent's turn. You know, Kabuterimon helps suspend. This is where you're going to need Kawagamon promos, because you want your DP to be boosted up plus 2,000 DP because you want to survive your stuff. Then you have, like, Okuamon here. That's basically saying, you know, deletes an opponent's Digimon by battle and survives, gain 1 memory. Extending your combo plays, you use Okuamon X to force, you know, if an Okuamon or X antibodies Digivolution suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then if this Digimon is attacking by switching the target of the attack to one of your opponent's suspended Digimon, you know, and then when your Digimon would Digivolve, it reduces the cost by 1. You know, you combo it in with Tentomon to help reduce costs as well to get into your Hercules Kabuterimon that gains piercing, and then all turns while this Digimon is suspended, it's unaffected by your opponent's Digimon effects. You know, all good stuff. Nidhogg is a great removal, especially against wide board shenanigans. You can just basically prevent them from doing. Suspend all your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 DP or less, then place all your opponent's suspended Digimon at the bottom of the owner's deck in any order, then trash all Digievolution cards of those Digimon. So Nidhogg's going to do what Nidhogg wants to do. You have, like, Super Shocker, spend 1 level 6 or lower, and one of your opponent's Digimon with Insectoids gets plus 3,000 DP, and then it gets added to your hand in the security effect. So a lot of good stuff with the Insectoids. I don't know if this is going to be long-term, is how this is going to go, or it'll survive, but it gives you some fun ways of starting off insects. Then we have Bloomlord. Bloomlord got some decent support in the form of Palmon X antibody, giving you a Pumamon-like skill for an on-digivolve and an on-play. And then, you know, being able, when your Green Tamer is played, gain a memory. Really solid, especially with your Mimis and stuff like that. But Quantumon is a really powerful card for this deck. So by placing one card, placing one Digievolution at the Digimon at the top of its owner's security stack, reveal all cards in your opponent's security stack, place one card among them at the top of their deck, then shuffle the rest and return it to the security stack. So there's one or two ways you can do it, is take your little guy, put them into the security of your own, and then you get to look at your opponent's, strip it for one. It's not a bad removal of security, especially if you needed to get rid of any threats in there, like security bombs or high-level attackers. Put it at the top, but the fact that start your opponent's turn, declare a card category, then reveal the top of your opponent's deck. If that card is of the declared category, this Digimon is unaffected by that effect of the card return, but return the reveal card to the top or bottom of your opponent's your deck. So you get to manipulate your opponent's deck a little bit. Being able to put some much needed cards at the bottom of their deck means it's out of the way for the game. They're not going to see it likely, and that's really helpful. So also being able to say nah to whatever effect that you call, and you call it correctly, you gain some value out of it. So stuff like that is vitally important. I think Pumamon is definitely needed to prevent any wide board shenanigans or anything that's going to try to win. This is kind of your out to, you know, big alligator man, Levon, so that they just can't play by an effect. So really good, and it goes good against the mirror. It just slows them down. But all in all, really good, solid way of playing, and I think I have no issues with it. Then we do have a Rosemon X variant. So we're using Rosemon Burst Mode. If you don't know what it does, it trashes the top of your opponent's security stack for every 2 of your opponent's suspended Digimon and Tamers. And then suspend one of your opponent's Digimon and one of their Tamers until the end of your opponent's turn. All their Digimon and Tamers cannot suspend. So free value out of this. I love that it's for every 2 of your opponent's suspended Digimon or Tamers. Helps remove threats off the board. And then you have like Rosemon X Antibody that says suspend one of your opponent's Digimon and one of your opponent's Tamers. That Digimon and Tamer cannot unsuspend until the end of opponent's turn. And then opponent's turn, once per turn when an opponent's Digimon is played, you may suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then opponent's turn, when an opponent's Digimon is moved from breeding area to battle area, if this Digimon has Rosemon or X Animated Digivolution, you may suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So this slows them down and really punishes them. You have like Rosemon being suspend one of your opponent's Digimon and Tamers, and when an effect suspends a Digimon or Tamer, you may unsuspend this Digimon. You know, this is your little combo here. You know, you use Yoshino just to be able to, one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Vegetation or Fairy. And trace by suspending this Tamer, gain a memory. You know, Mimi's going to gain if you suspend anything. Blamon X is basically in here for each of your opponent's suspended Digimon. This Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. Then when digivolving, if there is a suspended Digimon, gain a memory. If this Digimon has Lily or Ace in its Digivolution, for each of your opponent's suspended Digimon, draw a card. Since you're going to be locking down a lot of their board, you're going to just slow them down that way. Just so that the wider their board goes, the more value you get for having their stuff suspended. Then you have Togemon X Antibody. When digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon cannot unsuspend until the end of the opponent's turn. If this Digimon has Togemon in its Digivolution, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So, really solid. I like it a lot. Has a lot of potential. Then we have Rabon. Rabon Ace was introduced in this set, so on play, when digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then if your opponent has no unsuspended Digimon, this is gain 2 memory. And then when attacking, you may play one Digimon with Angoramon in its attacks from your hand without paying its cost. Return that Digimon played by this effect to your hand at the end of opponent's next turn. So really solid. You have like the Rabon here, so in a turn, one of your Digimon with Angoramon may attack an opponent's Digimon. Suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then if your opponent has no suspended Digimon, gain a memory. You know, all the good stuff is here, like Aerodramon, basically, you know, combos with Angoramon. So when a card with Angoramon in its text would be played, or when your Digimon would digivolve into Angoramon in its text, by suspending the Tamer, reduce the cost by 2. And then when the card becomes suspended, one of your Digimon with Angoramon in its text gains Rush for the turn. So this is where you're going to give your Darabis the ability to swing in the same turn. So the Rush factor is huge. You know, Ruli's going to do Ruli things that when attack, by suspending this Tamer, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon of 5000 DP or less. And you have regular Ruli that says you may unsuspend one of your Digimon with Angoramon in its text. So just being able to unsuspend is huge and get some multiple attacks going off. But all in all, really solid here. Deck is really good. Would it see competitive play? Probably not. Now we're into the Piece of Resistance Platinum Numemon deck. So right now we know we don't have access to Valkyrie Ace. That is really important for the deck, and you want to have that. But all in all, the deck is just a very rookie rush, low to the ceiling, knocks your opponent's face in. You have like Shoutmon here that says negate your opponent's gaining memory effects. Shoutmon that says screw Death X. And then Ukumon just basically to help speed up tempo, just so that you bring this up. As long as it's on the field, you know, one of your other Digimon Digivolves, you draw a card to help speed yourself up. You just want to go through that. Then you have like Louis to basically get the raising going a little bit faster, especially if it combos with Ukumon. Louis goes from, oh, this is BT-16 Louis. This needs to be promo Louis. Louis. 1, 2. There. Promo Louis is just going to, you may move one of your level 3 or higher Digimon from breeding area into battle area, and then one of your Digimon moved from the breeding area to battle area by spending this tamer, gain a memory. So all in all, good stuff. Numamon X's allows you to spam out stuff. You want to get Platinum Numamon in your trash as soon as possible to be able to play with Numamon X Antibody. So that's all the good stuff here. All in all, really solid deck. There's a lot of potential, a lot of rush strategy here. So good luck if you're going to play it. And then we have the Commandramon Ryuda deck. So Ryudamon is the new addition line in general. You play Shu from your hand as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. This Digimon isn't affected by effects of your opponent's Digimon until the end of the turn. So it gives a protection which will lead into doing some more crazy shenanigans. But it has an all turns. When this Digimon would become suspended, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamer with a play cost less than or equal to this Digimon. Same thing with the Jinru. That does the same thing, but on play, suspend one of your Digimon. If this Digimon has opponent's Digimon, this Digimon has a Tamer with Digipolice in its traits, that Digimon cannot unsuspend until the opponent's turn. Lockdown. High Commander is going to spit out any Digipolice. Commandermon is going to draw you, look for your Digipolice stuff. Cargojamon is going to play Digipolice stuff from the top. Isoryu is what makes your ability to go in Oryu, and Begadramon really ridiculous. When in effect, suspends your another Digimon or Tamer. If this Digimon has a Tamer with Digipolice in its traits and its Digivolution cards, you may Digivolve this Digimon into a card with Beast Dragon or Digipolice, which will be your Oryumon, which is what you want to do. And then basically, when in effect, suspends another Digimon or Tamer, unsuspend one of your Dragon Beasts, your Beast, or your Digipolice. So Oryumon's here, basically Beast Dragon here. If you have a Tamer with Digi traits in this Digivolution card, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon or Tamers to the bottom of the deck. Then all turns, when this Digimon becomes suspended, you may place one Digimon card with Beast, Dragon, or Digipolice trait and 5,000 DP or less from your hand without paying its cost. So, helps spam the board. Begadramon, we already know. DCZ Bombs just helps de-Digivolve. Death X and Quartz are just in this deck. Sasuke is going to give Jamming a reboot, and Shu is going to give Alliance and reboot in is your memory setter of the deck. Then we do have Mugan. So Mugan definitely got a facelift. I was really undervaluing Armadillomon, and I really regret not picking this up when this thing was $3. But use Armadillomon. Basically, you're going to build one big stack in raising, set yourself up. Then the turn you're going to promote after you have a few, like a Supreme Cannon, Supreme Connection ready and set, because this is going to help add pieces to your hand and set yourself up. What you do is like Mind Link with the Marvin underneath the Armadillo stack, and this adds more pieces so that you have Ragnar Lord ready to go, and then basically your opponent's staring down a threat that they are going to lose to Ragnar Lordmon, because your stacks will get so big that it's not even funny. So even taking into account, let's say we have Dory, Doru, or Dory plus Armadillo, plus a champion, doesn't matter who. Then we have a ultimate. Then we went into, let's say, Machine Dramon, Chaos Dramon here that puts 3 more cards underneath. So we put 4, 5, 6, 7 cards right there alone, and then put Marvin underneath. That brings it up to 8 cards underneath. So, and then if you then slam down, let's say this Machine Dramon, and you had, 4 more cards underneath this, so that brings this up to like what we go to 13, 14, 15 cards in the stack. So then when Ragnar swings in, when this Digimon, for every 4 cards in his Digivolution, delete one of your opponent's Digimon on the play cost 5, play cost 20 or less, then trash the top card opponent's security stack. So for every 4, So we reached 15. So 1, 2, 4, 8, 12. So that's 3 security removed just from a Ragna Lord play. So that's very easy to do. And then when a card is removed from a player's security stack, unsuspend this Digimon. So Ragna can get you to game status, and especially since we're going to apply pressure with, extra security checks, with your Chaos Dramon, it's just going to be really nasty. And the new Mega Dramon helps out also if you do it for when Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Place 1 card with Machine, Cyborg, or SOC traits from this Digivolution bottom Digivolution card and add 1 to your hand, trash the rest. So basically what your goal is to try to hopefully hit Marvin, get it underneath it, and then basically, or you add it to your hand and then you can just do anything else here with your ultimates and just set yourself up. When attacking, if this Digimon has a Tamer with SOC in his Digi-Evolution, delete one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamer with a play cost 3 or less. Helps do some control with similar to Mega Dramon without having to pass a lot more, just because it is a 3 cost. So all in all, we are using Raremon because by trashing 1 card, draw 2 cards. In this deck, you want to do that because you want to get to your Marvins, your analogs, all the good stuff as soon as possible, and it just gets scary over time. Then we do have a new card in Omekimon. So basically, this thing is a Digicross with an Agumon or a Greymon and a Gabumon or a Garurumon. So on play, if it's your turn, one of your other Digimon may Digivolve into a black Digimon card with Greymon or Garurumon in its name from your hand with the Digivolution reduced by 2. So Digicross by 2, not bad. It just sets up and just gets you going to be able to climb up and do the step climbs, which is what you're trying to do with the deck anyway. Get all the way to Alter S to be able to punish your opponent. So when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP or less, and then return 1 level 6 or higher Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck. And then when this effect would leave the battle area other than by one of your Digimon effect, place 1 Blitz Greymon or Crust Garurumon from Digivolution cards without paying its cost. Then place the Digimon at the bottom of the security stack face down. So, not a bad trade-off, right? So the deck is going to do what it wants to do. You have plenty of targets for black, so you just do defensive training. You only whiff on for 7 cards out of the whole deck, which is not terrible. Then we do have, getting into purple, we do have Fenri Luga. Basically got new cards in the form of Lugamon, Tyrannomon, and Lugaramon. So if you guys haven't been playing it, it's just basically Jesmon, but a little more better. So it doesn't plays as many bricks as the other decks did. When attacking by trashing 1 card in your hand, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3,000 DP or less. If you have a Tamer with SOC in its trace in this Digi-Evolution, draw a card. And then at a turn, if your opponent has 1 or more memory, gain a memory. So main thing you want to take into account with like Baomon here is that whatever you're trashing helps you step climb a little bit faster. So you're trashing cards, gaining value out of it. You have like Lugaramon when Digivolving or when attacking by trashing 1 card in your hand. This Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP for the turn, and if you have a Tamer with SOC in its traits in the Digivolution, draw a card. And then if your opponent has 1 or more memory, gain 1 memory at the end of the attack. Similar to end of attack here with Lugamon. So then you have like Tyrannomon, basically on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card, and 1 Tamer card with both SOC traits among them to your hand, return the rest of the bottom deck, then add 1 card. If you added a card, trash 1 card in your hand. Combos really nicely, really solid here. The deck's going to do what it wants to do and just restand, spit out board, Chimera to really go back into Fenri Luga. Then we do have a non-restricted Levimon deck. So this is just basically if you guys are planning on playing for the few weeks with no ban list in Worrymut. So you play the Gabu line and the Garurumon X antibody just to draw, discard, draw, discard. And then you get, as soon as possible, get Levimon X antibody in trash. And then you go into your Levimon, setting yourself up using like X antibody and X antibody protoform as your options here. You have plenty of choices and picks, but just being able to have the reduced Digi-Evolution cost for the X antibodies, it's not a bad trade-off, especially if you need the recovery after your body is lost. Really good. I think the deck has a lot of potential if you know what you're doing with it. It's a high learning curve deck because you're trying to get Biting Crush to remove threats, but also set up your levies to come out for free if your opponent does something, which would relate to you either using Octomon, basically putting a Fushimimon onto their side of the field, And then, you know, have Dragomon, either force it out of them is another option. So there's a lot of potential and a lot of options for you to do. Then we do have a restricted version. So this is once the restriction is in place and you lose out on the Gabumon, you kind of just switch over to be a Nubismon comboed with Levimon X antibody with Levimons. So use like Dracmon to be able to play a body, but you still want to speed through your deck. It's similar how Myosmon Ace works too. So which is really nice by you may play one purple level 3 card and one purple tamer from your trash without paying its cost. So this doesn't trigger that, but you know, it's not bad to get a body out sooner so that you can do some stuff. You know, what you could do, did it say level 3? Oof. So you'll use like Labramon, kind of just what you're trying to play with that effect. But it's not terrible. You know, you have Lady Devi to help mill, and then when a Digimon is played from your trash, gain a memory, just combos with the blue Mara. So you're just doing the same thing you set up. You know, you have to use the restricted Anubismon to do the Anubis shenanigans, but you also have Levimon's ability to just come out of trash very easily. So it's up to you how you want to handle the deck, but it's not a bad trade-off here. Now, we're getting into basically why there's a restriction list in the first place. So Omnimon is basically here to say, hi boys and girls, we're gonna mill you out for every 4 cards. So by placing 3 cards with Dark Masters traits and different names from your battle area or trash under this card, reduce the play cost by 4 for each card placed. End of turn, place once per turn by placing 1 level 6 or lower from your trash as this bottom Digivolution card. Activate the on-play effect of cards placed by this effect. Then for each level 6 card in Digivolution, trash the top 2 cards of your opponent's stack. See, the fact that it's end of your turn this happens really sucks. This should have been this part here, this then for each card, or it should have been end of your opponent's turn for each level 6 in this Digivolution card, trash the top 2 cards of your opponent's security stack. Gives them a little bit of leeway, would have been better, and I think it wouldn't have made this card as broken, but the fact that it can sit there with protections with Craniumon that says, yeah, nah, your opponent, until the end of opponent's turn, this Digimon isn't affected by effects of your opponent's Digimon. Giving the 15k that much protection is ridiculous, but you know what? You're going to use Ukumon to help get your tempo going and speeding through. You know, the Gabumon X antibody climb is all good here. You know, then you do also have the Gabumon comboed with Eismon scatter mode if that dies that way. You know, use Deathclaw to pop any Psychmons that are trying to slow you down. You know, Bagra to help rip cards pieces out of your opponent's hand. You know, Volcanodramon, basically delete all your opponent's Digimon at the lowest DP. If no Digimon was deleted effect, your opponent can't play Digimon with 5,000 DP or less until the end of the turn. You know, then you also have Metallic Dramon that de-digivolves all your opponent's Digimon, and then if no Digimon was deleted by the fact, none of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon can digivolve until the end of your opponent's turn. So blanket effect, nasty. You know, the Dark Masters are cycling through themselves, and they're just going to be trying to get in the trash as soon as possible. You know, Mega Dramon, just a minus blanket one security attack to keep yourself alive. And Apocalypse just here to mill your opponent to death. So, yeah. Now let's get into a more suitable fair version. So, with Apocalypse at 1, you're going to be switching over to what is known as Omnizoo. So, Omnizoo is basically using Scorpio, Cherry, Lady Devi, and Gigadramon to basically pop themselves at the end of your turn. Basically, they all have on plays to search the top 4 cards, add a level 6 or higher, which you are basically playing enough to be able to make sure you hit. So, the likelihood is very slim that you won't be able to +2. So, then you grab like Machine Dramon that's going to go into the breeding area that says on play when digivolving, when attacking digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Then, you know, they can only digivolve into white. They all do something. You know, this one returns a 5 or lower to the hand. This one basically returns your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. Piedmon basically deletes your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. You know, Retail, Piercing, you have Blocker, you have Reboot. So stuff to keep you alive. You use Omnimon Zawar to be able to play bodies out which is not bad. I mean, having Omon being an on-play is really solid to be able to play. Zuqualamon, basically for its when attacking is where it's vital here. And then Metal Grumon Ace. It's not a bad one because it has a when attacking trash a card, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. It's not a bad trade-off here. But the fact that you could just burst Digievolution on top of your Lady Devi on your opponent's turn to pass it to your side, it really throws them off. You know, Omnimon's to work coming out of security is what your goal here. You have Merciful Mode and X Antibody, and then tie a mat if your opponent gets, you know, too big for the britches and plays or is going into megas here. Now we do have Myosmon deck. This was a tough one. There's only one list that you could really take from. You do need Raremon in this deck. The same thing with Bakumon. Just when Digivolving on deletion, draw a card, then trash a card in your hand. You know, Raremon's a on play when Digivolving, trash one card, draw two. You know, all solid stuff here. You have like Myosmon that'll play, you know, the Tamer here. You know, if this Tamer is suspended, you may delete this Tamer to play one Myosmon from your trash without paying its memory cost. Then all turns when one of your Digimon with Myosmon is in his name is deleted, suspend this Tamer, gain a memory. You know, combos really nicely. You have Fog Barrier, which is completely broken. Delete one of your Digimon, then play one Myosmon from your trash without paying its cost, then place this card into the battle area. When your Myosmon is deleted, delay. You may play one Venom Myosmon from your trash without paying its cost. So you'll be able to play your Venom Myosmon for free on play when Digivolving on deletion, delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. You know, this is Venom Myosmon when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, gain a memory. It has the security +1 to do some damage. And then you have Myosmon. If there are 5 or more cards with Myosmon in its name in your trash, delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon and trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. When attacking, trash the top 5 cards of your deck. Then if you have a card with Myosmon in its name in your trash, gain a memory. So Myosmon is just going to do what Myosmon wants to do. And miss memory boost, wisdom training, all the good fun stuff here. So the deck has a lot of potential. Then we do have Gamamon. So Gamamon, actually, you want to play Louie and Ukamon in the list. Surprisingly, it does a little bit better this way. You know, it has the new Bokomon from the support that basically helps protect your Gamamons, which you want to do. You know, Regulus Ace is just going to be Blast Digivolution on play when Digivolving, trash one card in your hand. Then you may place one card with Gamamon from your trash as a bottom Digivolution source. Then if an effect places a Digivolution card under this Digimon by deleting one at level 4 or lower, you may play one level 4 or lower from your trash without paying its cost, which combos into being another Gamamon, or surprisingly getting your Uku back, or Bukumon back. So stuff like that matters in certain circumstances. You know, you have Cirrusmon Ace here that helps, so, you know, you may place one card with Gamamon as text from your hand as a bottom Digivolution, then delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP or less. For each card in this Digivolution card, add one maximum 1,000 DP to be deleted. And then all turns when a Digimon is deleted, gain a memory. You know, combos in really nice with Doro Brick because you can just gain a bunch of your dinosaurs all in here are going to do something for you in value. You know, you also have Paroxymon being Paroxymon. When another Digimon is deleted, you may play a level 4 or lower, you know, with Gamamon in its trash without paying its cost, and then end a turn by placing one Digimon with Gamamon as text from your hand or trash as a bottom Digivolution. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP. You have like Hero for the draw and plus 2,000 DP, and then plus 2,000 DP Memory Setter. You know, Louie's just going to help promote stuff up and get yourself rolling, and you just want to speed up tempo that way. But all in all, great possibilities for this deck. Then we do have the introduction of Shoutmon Times 2. Basically, you know, you're just going to be rookie rushing with Crossheart, but Shoutmon Times 2 is basically, you know, start a main phase, delete, gain a memory, but on play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. If you're Digicrossing with 2, that Digimon cannot unsuspend until your opponent's next unsuspend phase. The fact this isn't a Crossheart hurts a lot because you can't search it naturally, and you need Shoutmon and Ballista. So this card is also treated as Shoutmon and Ballista, so anything that'll search naturally Shoutmon would help you, but yeah, anything else, you're screwed. Then we do have the final deck we're going to talk about, and that is Rookie Rush, or Uku Rush. So basically, what you're taking is a bunch of stuff that says no to something. You know, Chumon that says no to gaining memory, except for Tamers. Chukurimon that says you can't reduce play cost. Terrymon, same thing as Chumon. You have Gusumon that says players can't play Digimon by effects. You have Gausumon that basically says can't outroot Digivolution. Solarmon that says, nah, bro, we don't care. We're going to just say you can't reduce play cost. And you have Cutemon that can't reduce Digivolution cost. And you have Pillowmon that can't play Digimon by effects. And you have like Pulsemon to, if your security is 3 or less, draw a card. And if you're 3 or security or less, gain a memory. So you want to be on that even to draw the 1 and gain 1. Heaven's Judgment to be a good removal because you play so many different colors. Louis to help speed up your Uko turns, just to speed in tempo. You know, Mochumon, when your red Digimon attacks a player, draw a card. Oh my goodness, so we're going to use Gaussmon, you know, and Otamamon. Otamamon's just going to help speed up because you're going to draw with Mucho. So you're going to just continue your state here. And then you have Crimson Blaze to slow down any wide board effect kind of shenanigans. So all in all, I think this deck has some potential and it gives some people some spice. And I think this is extremely budget friendly outside of the Ukus and Louis. But all in all, great stuff, guys. I think you have a lot of potential and this should give you guys great starting points to get yourself ready for BT-15 this week. So guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!